Jack, are you with us? Okay. All right. We just gonna go ahead and dive into this here anyway. D Jack. Hello. Okay,
Yep.
that's much better. That's much better. Okay, so little technical difficulties, but we got that worked out, and we just gonna move forward with the show for today. We're gonna lead off today talking sports, and we're gonna talk a little bit about Jake Paul and that boxing match he had with Tyrone Woodley last weekend. Jake Paul came out on top again. It was a split decision, but he got the W in the end.
Right. So I guess so. I've been listening to the commentating on that because I didn't watch the fight. But I guess what everybody is saying is that it shouldn't have been the split decision that Jake Paul just basically killed dude. But or
Well,
did he?
it wasn't like that. So he had him on points, but Woodley definitely rocked him a couple times. He had him hurt a couple times. Because striking is something that Woodley is good at. He's an MMA fighter, but he's recently turned into a boxer. This was his first actual boxing match, but he is still comfortable striking. So he did have Jake Paul hurt a couple of times actually, but he wasn't able to put him away because he himself isn't a polished boxer. But I'm gonna give Jake his credit anyway, because like you, I listen to other people as well, and in particular Max Kellerman. I respect his boxing opinion and his perspective. I know he's been around the sport for decades now, going back as far as I can remember, to be honest with you. And I share a similar opinion to his in that Jake Paul is doing what he's supposed to do right now in terms of using his social media following to establish himself as a boxer, even though he's not fought anybody with any real boxing credibility up to this point. He's fighting other famous people so he can sell seats, and that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. But eventually, he's going to have to fight someone who's an established boxer. Now, granted, you don't start off with somebody who's a contender in today's standards, but you know how it is. You get someone who's maybe over the hill a little bit, and you go at it with them and see if you can start to get some credibility. Build credibility by beating established boxers.
So the only credit that I give to that is that if people are going to watch it, then obviously keep on doing it. Right. And people are watching it.
Exactly.
I mean, I think Tracy said this last week. It really kind of gives real boxing a bad name. It kind of, what I'm saying? It's kind of disrespecting real boxing. But hey, something? What do I know? If people are paying for it, then obviously you keep doing it. Why would you stop if you're making money?
Right. No, I agree.
Were you saying Mayweather was past his prime?
No, not at all. Not at all. And plus, I mean, Jake Paul is a heavyweight.
He's allowed to be, yo.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's just like, if you look at the size difference between those two, it was ridiculous.
The size difference between him and Mayweather?
Yes.
Mayweather knocked him out and held him up.
I did know that. I did know that. And like I said, Woodley had him hurt a couple times in that fight, so. But hey, you know what I'm saying? If he's chasing his dream, he's on the right path.
And what's the name of that?
Stay at it.
What's the name of that entertainer? He's a little singer. Lieber what's his name? He made it famous by his stuff on YouTube. Now the Indians got a picture by his name.
Bieber?
Yeah, Justin Bieber. Is Justin?
Yeah, Justin Bieber.
Didn't he get famous?
Why can't I hear Tracy?
Didn't he get famous doing the same thing?
When you say doing the same thing,
utilizing YouTube to
Well, I think he
develop
got
his brand.
discovered by Usher because of his YouTube videos.
Okay.
But he truly got famous though because of Usher.
I thought it was YouTube that got him.
Well,
YouTube, he utilized YouTube to get the Usher, right?
right.
Okay, which is about the same.
Well, not really though, because Usher is what made him a household name because he started having hits after he got discovered by Usher. But to your point, he was discovered because of his YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's all I mean. That's all I mean.
Yep.
Dion was saying he couldn't hear me.
Oh, okay. Okay, that sounding okay now, DJ?
I still can't hear Trey Love.
Okay. Yeah, I can.
But I mean, okay, Jake Paul.
Okay, so yeah, that's that. Just giving him his props. You know what I'm saying? Northeast Ohio. So he had downtown lit up for Saturday nights. Last Sunday night. So give him his credit. So moving on to those Cavaliers and these Ben Simmons rumors. Any legs to that? What you think?
When it's smoked, it's usually fire.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something to it. Yeah, and it's just like
it for a little while.
Ben Simmons is with Clutch Sports,
and so is
Darius Garland.
So, and I've seen him work out on YouTube a lot.
Yeah, and also too, regardless to what most people think about Dan Gilbert and LeBron's relationship, Clutch Sports has a good working relationship with the Cavaliers organization, and they always have.
And I just say LeBron's a businessman as well.
Yeah, and he is, and again, this is about business. So, is it out of the? Are the Cavaliers the front runners to acquire Ben Simmons? I wouldn't say that, but are they in the mix? Absolutely. And with that, what would you be willing to give up for Ben Simmons? DJ, what you got?
Probably a couple of basketballs, but I don't think I don't. The Cavs may be in the mix because the Cavs have said, "Hey, Philly, we want to do this," but there's absolutely no way Ben Simmons is coming to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, like he wouldn't go. He's probably in the league. Like,
he's already said he was open to come to Cleveland. He already said he was open to come to Cleveland.
Okay,
that's a question he's already answered.
To who? I mean, did he say that, or you're saying that?
Well, you know how they talk. You know how they talk through the media.
No, I don't. No, so I don't think that he's open to come to Cleveland because, and I'm saying from the standpoint of why would he come to a rebuild? He's been in the league for like 5, 6.
Well, because years. So what it is, and again, in my opinion, and so when the article I was reading regarding that said his thoughts are. He wouldn't mind coming to a team where he's the best player on the team. And like I told you before, I think that's part of the reason why he's so shy offensively and just hesitates to shoot. Because because he missed his rookie year, by the time he started playing, because that team already had Joel Embiid and a couple other pieces, they were a playoff team already. So he didn't get any time a year or two in the NBA to kind of figure himself out offensively without the pressure that the playoffs provide. And when you got that pressure that the playoff provides, where every possession counts, you have another all-star like Joel Embiid, it puts pressure on you to when you take shots to make shots. And I don't think he had that in his development plan. Because, again, the first year he played, he was on a playoff team. The first year he actually played, he was already on a playoff team. So, coming to
I don't know why you make excuses for that, dude.
Coming to an organization like Cleveland, and when I say an organization like Cleveland, coming to a team right now that doesn't have true championship expectations takes the pressure off and allows you to play against NBA talent in NBA games without some of the pressure until he can build his confidence up offensively. And it wouldn't be the first person to do that.
Well, just from my standpoint, thinking about that, pressure can do one of two things: make diamonds or bust pipes. And every time he's been applied to it, the pressure has been applied to it, he shot away from it. I don't know if I want to make a trade for him.
I would. I mean, I think he's still definitely a talented player, and obviously he's a reclamation project. Because again, offensively, right now he's just not in a good space.
What year is he in?
I believe this was his 5th year, I believe.
So it'll be in 6.
Well, I think that you are interested in him strictly because of the name. I don't think he adds anything to our young players, and that's what we got. We're young. We're real young. Why would we need somebody who is his game has never developed? So we're gonna take a dude
his offensive game, his offensive, his no. Let me get a little bit even more specific. His shot has not matured. His shot has not developed.
Outside shot.
No, dog. His mind. He had an opportunity to go to the basket in a close game where they needed those buckets.
He didn't want to get fouled because he doesn't have confidence at the free throw line, which goes back to his shot.
So, and you want to bring that dude to a young team that you're trying to develop, where you got a third pick who could possibly be in the conversation as this is the best dude in the league.
Well, so you're talking about what he can't do. Let's talk about what he can do. He can defend all 5 positions. He can rebound, and he can push the floor and pass with point guard type precision. So there's a lot of things that he can do. There's obviously something that he needs to work on, which is his shot, and build confidence in his shot. And again, I think part of that is because when you're on a rebuilding team, you don't have the pressure of expectations. So that's why I would do it. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one, and that's why other people are interested in him as well. And sometimes a change of scenery can do wonders for you. I don't know. LaMarcus Aldridge is giving it a try. He's decided to come back out of retirement, and he's going to join the Nets.
So that's one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. So let's rewind and look at the timeline. So this dude is playing for a team that's supposed to be at that time an NBA contender, NBA championship contender. It was supposed to be between them and, was it the Lakers at that time or what? Yeah, it was them and the Lakers when he retired, right? Or whoever it was, but their team was supposed to be the favorite to come out the East.
Right.
And so, right before the playoffs start, you retire and say that you got a heart condition, and then in the off season you come back to the team. Like, for you have a window to win a championship, and you retire, and then after the season you come back. That don't even make sense.
Right. It doesn't. Something's definitely going on there. Something's going on there.
Right. Because I don't even understand that one. I don't even understand. Why would you, like, are you just saying, I love the regular season, but I don't like the playoffs?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean,
if you really think about it, he never shows up in the playoffs. All those years with Portland, he never really took San Antonio over the top. Remember, he was supposed to be the continuation
of Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan. Right. Yeah, he never quite lived up to that. Actually, he didn't come close to living up to it, to be frank.
He didn't come close to it.
I mean, come on, yeah.
Because they still had Ginobili and Tony Parker.
Right.
So they still had 2 of the big 3. And, boy, you coming in at 7 foot, 6'11".
He wasn't the dominant big man with San Antonio.
I mean, come on, you still talking about Tim Duncan. I mean, you're acting like that's easy to approach. I mean, Tim Duncan was phenomenal for all those years. So, Marcus Aldridge was really good, but Tim Duncan was something special. Y'all acting like he's just anybody can do that.
Well, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, at that time, LaMarcus Aldridge was supposed to be that player. Now, obviously, he wasn't Tim Duncan at that particular time, but you was coming to pop. He was a 25, 26 point a game, 10, 11 rebound player a game in Portland. And so when he left Portland to go to San Antonio, they still had Tony Parker, they still had Ginobili, and they still had Pop.
Well, I'm just saying, shout out to Tim Duncan. That's my point.
So what I'm saying is he should have been in that mode. He should have at least been the missing piece they needed to make them a championship team. Because again, like I said, the coach was popping it.
Right. I think they were expecting more out of him. I know as a fan, I was expecting more out of him. So I guess I kind of agree with you on that. What about DeAndre Jordan? Oh man.
So
I was getting ready to go into that. I was getting ready to go into the trade with Detroit and the Nets for DeAndre Jordan, but then it immediately made me start thinking about the fact that Detroit bought DeAndre Jordan out, and he's rumored to be joining none other than the Los Angeles Lakers.
See, I think LeBron is trying to clown y'all. I think LeBron is like, okay, y'all saying we old, I'm going to get an even older dude. The whole joke with them is that they so old, and so now we going to sign a dude that's old. I mean, like, DeAndre Jordan basically did not even play for the Nets because he was just that long in the tooth. But, Sean, I want to ask you a question.
So check this out. DeAndre Jordan,
how old is
he's 33. So you got 33-year-old DeAndre Jordan joining 37-year-old Carmelo Anthony, 36-year-old Trevor Ariza, 32-year-old Kent Bazemore, 33-year-old Wayne Ellington, 36-year-old Marc Gasol, 35-year-old Dwight Howard, 36-year-old LeBron James, and 34-year-old Wesley Matthews.
Dude, that's about 8 or 9 players you named.
Right. And wait a minute. Oh, man, it got cut off. Because did I say Rajon Rondo's name? No, I didn't.
You did.
Yeah, because I don't know why they signed Rondo either.
Yeah, and Rondo's 35. Rondo's 35.
Rondo was a big part of how they won that title, though.
Look, man, this does not work in the NBA. It does not.
So here's my thing. I question.
There's not enough champagne to go around for everybody.
But I don't question their squad.
And then if you keep watering down the Shampipple, you know what I'm saying? Who won't water down Shampipple?
I don't question the squad. I mean, there's no doubt to me they should win the championship next year. Since they got LeBron and they got LeBron.
The Senior Citizens Classic.
Yeah.
Okay, but here's what I don't understand.
It'll work in the playoffs when they get to the playoffs, but to get to the
they're not gonna make it. They're gonna be pulling hamstrings and back spasms, and I mean, no, it's not going to work. By the All-Star break, LeBron gonna ship half them old dudes out of there, and the other half he gonna tell her retire.
Here's what I don't understand. So let's take out the Detroit Pistons and let's put the Cleveland Cavaliers in that situation. Why would we get him to give him a buyout? Like, that's just like, why are we saying, okay, they owe you $70 million. So just come over to here and we're going to just give you 40 to buy you out. I don't understand why what is Detroit's role in this?
Right. Well, so I guess so at the end of the day, what did Detroit do? What they accomplished is they freed up a couple roster spots because they moved those two guys. And again, I can't remember their names right off the top, but they moved those two guys to the Nets. And then they, in return, got DeAndre Jordan. Then they bought DeAndre Jordan out. So that freed up 2 roster spots for them. And they're in a situation where, you know.
But does that affect their cap, though?
It will, because when you buy a player out, and from my understanding, DeAndre Jordan had like $20 million left on his cap. But because the New Jersey Nets are so okay, let me back up. He had like $20 million left on his cap. When you buy somebody out, okay, you could say maybe, okay, I'm gonna buy you out for whatever the negotiated amount is. Let's say $15 million. That $20 million still counts against your cap. But what they do is they prorate it over the course of like 5 seasons. So each season it would be $4 million against the cap. And, you know, so the reason that the reason Brooklyn did that is because they're over the cap. That extra money was killing them. That Because they also spent like $5 million along with DeAndre Jordan to help Detroit with that buyout. Because if his salary had it counted against them from a...
I still don't understand why am I Detroit, so I'm just going to throw $5 million a year for the next 4 years on my books.
But when you're a team like Detroit, where you just drafted the number 1 pick, like cap space won't be an issue for you for 3 or 4 years because your major players are on rookie contracts.
Got you. Okay. Now it makes sense.
Sure.
Because I'm sitting there wondering, like, okay, why would I do that? Why would I help another team by helping them get under the cap and increase my cap number? But I get it because you freed up 2 roster spots, just like you said, and you ain't paying nobody for at least 3 years.
Right.
So right. Okay.
So what'd you guys think of that Ohio State game? Ohio State versus Minnesota Thursday night. Buckeyes still won by 14.
But the defense is like PU.
That defense can't stop a nosebleed, man.
So I'm sitting up here watching right now Oklahoma and Tulane. And Tulane is giving Oklahoma everything. Oklahoma is ranked number 2. Tulane is giving Oklahoma everything they want, but the score is 27-14. And so my point that I'm making is that first game is tough.
It is. So it's not a comparison because everybody knows Oklahoma doesn't play defense.
So here's here's my thing. Here's the point that I was making with that by saying that. So the one thing I do give Ohio State credit for is Ohio State usually opens with Tri-C, Dyke College, Shaw High School. So I give them credit because to me, okay, so what they came out number 4? Were they ranked number 4? Right. Okay, they came out number 4. And you kind of want to prove out the gate, yeah, I am number 4. And so if they would have played, let's say if they would have played Akron, and they would have blew Akron out 73 to 5. To me, it's more telling of who you are by beating Minnesota 45 to 30. What is it? 45-31. To me, that gives okay. You legit because first game of the season, everybody got good football players. If you're a Big Ten team, you got good football players. You're a decent coach. So I give Ohio State a lot of credit.
Well, I give them credit, but I'll say this: typically, when you're playing a quarterback who's like more or less starting for the first time, you kind of want a game where they can warm up to the offense a little bit, almost like an exhibition game. So if there's any time in your season or on your schedule where you want kind of like a cupcake game, that's when you want it. That first game with your brand new quarterback. You know what I'm saying? Starting his first game. And because
like I'm saying, Spencer Rattler, who is the quarterback for Oklahoma, this is the dude that followed Baker, that followed the Blood in Philly, that followed Kyler Murray, and now it's Spencer Rattler. And all those dudes that I just mentioned only had 1 year in the program. I think Baker actually had 2. So this Spencer Rattler's second year. And so Spencer Rattler is like a Heisman favorite. He ain't looking like a Heisman favorite right now. So, and they opening against Tulane. So I give a lot of credit to C.J. Stroud, to Ohio State, for putting C.J. Stroud in that type of situation, and he delivered.
He did, but you know what? To be honest with you, I give the credit to Ryan Day. Because if you watch the game in the first half and you look at the play calling and what they were trying to do, the second half, Ryan Day said, okay, my first-year quarterback is struggling. Let me give him some easy throws. Let me spread this field and get some one-on-one matchups with my receiver and get my quarterback some easy throws because these guys can't run with us. And that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly what Stroud delivered on. Easy throws.
So let's stay right there. So tell me, in your opinion, what type of coach is Ryan Day? Because Ryan Day basically did what Freddie Kitchens did. Now, he just came from nowhere, Dude retired, and
no,
he just took
that's
over.
Not true. That's not
when
true.
he took over a great team.
No, he didn't.
But
he definitely did not come from nowhere. He did not come from nowhere.
He was their offensive coordinator for what?
Their offensive coordinator was
for
Tom
like 2 years, but he had
Tom Harmon left.
He left for Houston. He left for Houston years ago.
Yeah, but the point that I'm making is that the point that I'm making as far as that is Ryan Day didn't have a cachet that Tom Herman got.
Yes, Ryan Day was being sought out by the NFL, and if Urban Meyer had not turned it over to Ryan Day, had not retired and turned Ohio State over to Ryan Day was on his way to the NFL.
As a what?
As an OC. Ryan Day was highly sought after.
I don't believe that, but I guess the only point that I'm trying to make is this is now Ryan Day's team. You know, last year that might have been Dew's team. Why can't I think of Ohio State, Jacksonville's coach, Urban Meyer? But now this is Ryan Day's team. These are his recruits. These are, and so is he a good coach? So again, I'm asking you, is he Nick Saban level? Is he Dabo level? Is he Lincoln Riley level? Is he Matt Rule, the coach of Iowa State?
Well, this is what he is, dog. He's an offensive mind. He's a great offensive mind, and ultimately, if you can close the deal, meaning if you can win a championship, then I think you get considered to be a great coach.
And he's a crazy recruit.
I said Matt Rule. I meant Matt Campbell is Iowa State's coach. But these are coaches who are rumored to be going to the NFL. You know, Lincoln Riley stuff and all those types of dudes. Is Ryan Day that, or do we want to give him some time to see if he that? Like, do you already put him there?
I kind of put him there from an offensive standpoint. He was a disciple of Chip Kelly, so he was part of what Oregon was doing. You know what I'm saying? And he got credit for being very innovative. In fact, he took over when Chip Kelly left for San Francisco. Took over that Oregon offense and kept that thing going. So again, I think his strength is his offensive play calling and design. But that's one thing. But you know what? If you can be good, really good. Like Andy Reid was always considered an offensive genius as a coach. But once you win a championship, once you seal a deal, you get that label removed from you, and you're just a great coach. And I think that's the same thing with Ryan Day. Right now, he's a great offensive mind, and if he closes the deal, he'll get credit with just being a great coach. And really, if you think about it, Urban Meyer had the same level until he won championships. So
next 3 years, does Ohio State win a national championship? Next 3 years. Don't give me your fan. I'm talking about legit.
I think so. So you look at it, the reality of it is you go into all these college seasons, and there's like 4 teams that have a legitimate shot to win a national championship, maybe 5. But every year, Ohio State's one of them. So if you keep knocking at the door, eventually you're gonna get it open, and I think that's what's gonna happen.
Well, it's always gonna be 3 of them: Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama. They're gonna be there every year, and it's always an extra one. It's always one we don't know, but it definitely is usually those 3.
Right. You can kind of pencil those guys in
because
I'm always
because of the recruiting. Those are the 3 big recruiting.
I'm always you got to prove it to me until I give you credit. And to me, I'm very skeptical of Ryan Day. But again, you told me more about him than I knew. I didn't know he came from Oregon. So I'm skeptical. I just kind of feel like you really took over a great team. Kind of like everybody say Barry Switzer didn't win. He won the Super Bowl with Jimmy Johnson's players.
He did.
Okay. So Ryan Day didn't win the national championship with Urban Meyer's players, but he took them as far as Urban did.
But neither did Urban Meyer, though. I mean, don't get me, when I say in just using
the Urban Meyer
No. What I'm saying is you use the Jimmy Johnson, Barry Switzer analogy. That same core group of guys, Jimmy Johnson won a Super Bowl with.
He won with them.
Right. As to where Urban Meyer didn't win with this group of guys that Ryan Day didn't win with either.
Oh no, that's what I said he took him the same place Urban took him.
Oh, okay. Hey, and speaking about taking people places, who you think is taking or picking up Cam Newton? Because he's looking for a job now.
I think he's done.
I think he's done too. I think he's done.
I don't think he's done. I think somebody is going to get a quarterback injury.
There's one situation in my mind. There's one situation for him. There's one situation, and that's the Washington football team.
I don't think he's going to be a starter.
Are you saying that because of his coach?
Well, I'm saying that because a number of reasons. For one, I don't think that Cam is willing to be a backup anywhere. So I think if he goes somewhere, he's looking to do it in a starter's role. And I think that's probably the only situation at this time of the year that he can go into and realistically look to maybe get a starting role.
I don't think he's going to start anywhere. He's just not good like he was.
Yeah, I think it's kind of messed up. And when I say messed up, I'll just say it's unfortunate because I think he lost his job because of COVID.
So I think the Broncos,
I won't say because of COVID. I'll say because he didn't take the vaccine. I think he lost his job because he didn't take the vaccine. Because when he had to miss those days of training camp, not only were those days that you missed, those were days where Mac got to go in and take all of the snaps as the starter. Hang on, I'm going to step away for just a second, guys.
So how do you feel about Urban Meyer's comments on COVID?
I didn't hear his comments on COVID. What were they?
So Urban Meyer said, so let me preface it by this. So did you hear what Belichick said about COVID?
I didn't hear what Belichick said either.
Okay, so what Belichick said about COVID is they asked Belichick, was COVID part of the reason why, or was Cam not being vaccinated one of the reasons why he got cut? They might not have said vaccinated. They might have said because of COVID.
I did see that.
So Belichick said, look, there's a high number of players that have been vaccinated that gets COVID. So everybody wanted to walk that back like, whoa, I can't believe that.
Well, that's not the issue, though. That's not the issue.
But hold on, wait, because that's not my point. The point I'm making is about what Urban Meyer said. So what I think Urban Meyer said first, so right after Cam got cut, so let's say the cut was Tuesday. So Tuesday night, I think Belichick made his statement like either late Wednesday or Thursday. But Tuesday night, Urban Meyer said, yeah, vaccination is part of the reason. Players not being vaccinated is part of the reason why we cut some players. How do y'all feel about Urban's statement?
Urban just keep putting his foot in his mouth. He just keep putting his foot in his mouth. It's like, Urban, this is not college football. Okay, right. You are not the emperor. You are no longer the emperor. The NFL does not work like that. Okay? And I'm gonna borrow a line from Keyshawn Johnson. You know, you go into an NFL locker room, you dealing with a grown man with a full beard, $100 million contract, diamond earrings. You know what I'm saying? SUV with 2 car seats in the back of it. Try just come telling him what to do and see how that works for you.
I said it a long time ago, and I'm gonna say it again. Urban Meyer is not lasting over 2 years.
I don't think he's gonna last a year. I don't think he's gonna last a year.
The reason I don't think he's gonna last is because the last couple of times he stepped away is because of that the pressure on his brain, and I don't know why he stepped back in. He did it twice on the college level, and it's more intense in the NFL.
And this is the thing too, though. Is like, so the issues with saying guys who weren't vaccinated that played a role in who made the squad. It's like stuff like that loses the locker room for you. You know what I'm saying? Hiring a strength and conditioning coordinator who has who's been fired for being racially insensitive. That type of stuff loses your locker room for you. So it's like when you're already a first-year NFL head coach, and it's like you keep having missteps and misspeaks, it's like that's you making your job harder. Your job is very difficult to begin with, and unfortunately, you making it harder for yourself.
I thought Jacksonville owner is the one who I blame.
For what?
I mean, it's just his offense, that what he ran at Ohio State. It wasn't an offense that they run in the NFL.
But
it wasn't.
You don't have to, though. I don't think you have to. And like when I look, because you know what, I'm gonna tell you something.
It's a difference between a pro style offense and a pro style type coach. Then
he's not the OC. He's the head coach. And again, I'm sure he's smart. But as the head coach, what you do is you get a good OC. You don't even have to run the offense that you ran in college, because guess what? You probably aren't going to be calling plays.
But again, he's only played. He'll play a couple of seasons and he retire. Then he'll come back and he play a couple seasons and he retire. That makes no sense for you to go get him. He was only off a couple seasons.
Right.
So right. I just never saw Urban Meyer for the NFL. It just didn't make no sense for me. And the stuff that he's doing now is because he got away with it in college. He's a college coach. He's not a pro coach. He's not. And as far as the players, I don't know. I do think you have the freedom of being a vaccination and all that. I do agree with that. But when your choices infringe on my rights to be safe, I think it ends there.
Okay.
I think it ends there. I mean, you can say, okay, I got the right to not to take this vaccine. I get that. You do. But then when you come around me, and I got kids too, then all things bets are off.
Right. Well, yeah, and basically I think the NFL and the NBA agree with you. Because if you look at what it means, like the rules that they have in place, if you haven't been vaccinated, it's like for example, the Browns, since the last preseason game and since final cuts, they've had 4 days off? They got like 4 days off before they 3 days off before they start preparing for Kansas City. So that's 3 days where you can do whatever you want to do. You want to go home, you want to go to Miami for the weekend, whatever. If you're vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you have to take COVID tests daily. So you can't go nowhere. You can't eat with the team. When the team travel, you got to travel in a different section of the plane or the bus. It's just like they really put you out there or separate you. And you know, who would want to deal with that?
I saw a stat that said the league's players are 93% vaccinated.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I did look that up too, and I saw something that actually said they were 91, but that was early August, so it wouldn't surprise me. And again, it's like you have so much to lose as an NFL or NBA player if you aren't vaccinated. It's like who would take that risk or who wants to do that?
Well, you know, my late line brother Paul Ward always said the choices you make dictate the life you live. So you got the choice to take the vaccination or not. So if you don't take it, you're still bound as long as you're signed by the league rules. So you just pretty much mess up your weekend, your vacation weekend or your holiday weekend by choosing not to be vaccinated.
Right.
So I mean, it is what it is, and a lot of these things, like during the vaccination or during this pandemic, sports, we seen how the impact that sports had on the pandemic when they weren't playing sports. It was dreadful. So it's kind of like sports kind of like plays. It always has been a getaway for when you had it bad. At least for 3 hours, you can just watch sports.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And that's all I mean by it. That's all I mean to say is, I mean, you're around to just do what you can to make your money.
Right.
And a vaccination helps you make your money because the risk ain't worth the reward. If you can be vaccinated, you're unvaccinated, and you're dead, you can't get a contract.
Well, I'll tell you what, too. I don't care what nobody say. Not being vaccinated cost Cam his job. It cost Cam his job.
I agree with that.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
See, my cam angle is a little different, but go ahead, dog. I ain't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead with it.
My cam angle is a little different because, and I definitely still do agree with you're saying that the vaccination is the reason. But if you remember about right after the first preseason game, Cam put out a tweet that said something like, it was something like, okay, loyalty or something like that. And so the rumor was, and I'm hearing this from Skip and Shannon, was that Cam was dealing with something personal, kind of something where maybe somebody he knew that lived back in his hometown, or maybe something with his girl, but something was going on personal in Cam's life. So then all of a sudden, Cam went somewhere. So they never really said where he went, and then he got tested at that particular place, and then they said, well, this isn't an NFL sanctioned test, so that's like you didn't get tested, which means that you went somewhere. So now you got to quarantine before you come back.
Right.
So I think Cam is dealing with a personal matter. And I think Belichick was like, to be honest, this is what I think. I think Belichick, you got to be locked into football.
It was those 5 days, though. I don't think it was the personal matter per se. I think it was those 5 days because the personal matter only made him miss like one practice.
No, the personal matter made him miss 6 practices.
No.
Because listen to me, dog. Listen to me. The personal matter is the reason why he went home. The consequences of him going home is now you done missed 6. Now you got to miss an extra 5 days. But what if it's the regular season?
Right. No, but that's because he's not vaccinated, though. That's
right.
why those rules applied to him.
Which goes back to that choice.
And so I'm saying that Belichick is like, okay, so you ain't 100% dialed into this team. You're not 100% because you let a personal matter take you.
No, it wasn't the personal matter. It still wasn't the personal matter because you'll have personal matters. I mean, technically, hold on a second. And I know it's the quarterback, so it's a different position, but it's not the personal matter because things come up and you could get hurt. What it was is he wasn't vaccinated. And if you're vaccinated and you have a personal matter, that means as a minimum you're going to miss 5 days. Because you're not getting the daily testing that you need to do. So that's the part of it that probably played into the decision.
And if you get vaccinated and you come down with COVID, you can get vaccinated every day. And then if you
all you have to do is test positive for 2 days straight if you vaccinated. If you come down with COVID, test negative for 2 days straight, and you're good.
So again, it goes back to him. Being vaccinated, choice, right? Not being vaccinated,
right?
So that's what it goes back to.
Yep.
So not being vaccinated cost him his damn job. And another variable is at that time he was facing somebody who was ready to play.
Right. That's what I'm saying. When you're competing with somebody, like I'm gonna give you an example. Carson Wentz, and again I've said it before. I'm gonna say it one more time. Thank you, Hugh Jackson. Thank you, Hugh Jackson, for not drafting Carson Wentz for the Browns.
That wasn't Hugh Jackson, man. That was.
Well, Hugh. Remember, Hugh had him working out and putting the football in the water bucket and talked about his hands. And Hugh didn't like him. Hugh didn't like Carson. He did. Well, okay, Sashi. Hugh and Sashi. Okay, Sashi said he didn't think he was a top 60. Thank both of you guys. Really. Thank both of you guys.
Oh, and also, what's the name didn't like him either?
DePodesta?
DePodesta didn't like him.
Thank you, Browns front office, for not drafting Carson Wentz. But anyway, hold on a second, dog. The reason I brought him up is because the stuff that Carson Wentz is pulling right now in terms of, maybe he can't help having ankle surgery, but he's not vaccinated. And he had to step away from practice for all of those days. But the difference is he's not in a Carson Wentz. He's not in a heated competition for his job. And he has a contract where he's guaranteed like $70 million still payable to him. That's the difference in the situation. So if you're not in that situation where you got guaranteed millions, You better get that vaccination.
Hey, but look at this though. So I want to go ahead and make my statement right now. I don't think Mac Jones is going to be good. Now he might be good 5 years from now or 3 years from now, but I don't think New England is going to be good. I don't think Mac Jones. I don't think that was a smart decision because. So if you look at Mac Jones really, huh?
I mean, come on, you're, and again, I understand you've been watching football a long time, but so has Bill Belichick, and I think he has a little bit. I think he has a little bit more data to go on in this decision he made.
So here's the point that I'm looking at that though. So let's look at these rookie quarterbacks because it's exciting, man. This is about to be a new league where all the Brady's is about to leave. And now it's Baker and Pat Mahomes and all these young quarterbacks. So I still say that Justin Fields is going to be the best out of this group. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is ever going to be good. This is my bold statement. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is ever going to be good. I think Mac Jones may end up being good because of Belichick. Definitely not this season. I think that boy Trey Lance is going to be cold. And I think I don't know. The jury is out on the dude from New York. I think the two best quarterbacks out this draft is going to be Justin Fields and that kid from San Francisco.
Huh. I mean,
and it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. The two that don't start week 1 too.
You know, it'll take probably a couple years before we can really have an answer on this. But let's touch real quick on these Browns, man. How do you feel about the cuts, the final cuts that the Browns made? Any surprises?
Nothing really stood out to me. Nothing really stood out. The one thing I like is that the Browns ran it back, and they basically bought most of the team back, and so everybody who was significant is back. And we added some great pieces to the safety and the slot corner. You know, now you got a good battle on the other cornerback opposite Denzel between Greedy and the first round draft pick. So you know one of them will be good. You got JOK. Offense is definitely the same. I was surprised the Kelly kid didn't make it, but he got to the practice squad, right?
Mm-hmm. No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did. He's on.
They put Kelly on the practice squad.
He's on the practice squad.
Okay. I didn't see his name on that list, but okay.
Practice squad.
But no, nothing really surprised me. I'm ready for this week. I'm ready for the Chiefs.
You're not surprised Taki made it?
I mean, so if we didn't have the injury, then yeah. But I believe he's the last linebacker.
I'm gonna tell you something I'm surprised about, and I don't know quite how I feel about it yet. I was surprised that our 5th round pick, the linebacker Fields, I was surprised that he made the 53-man roster because it's like he missed virtually all the OTAs, virtually all the mini camp, virtually all the training camp, and he still made the roster.
I'm not surprised because he was a pick of this year, and he had both different feet were broken.
I don't really like that. I don't really like that.
And you don't know what he can do. But you got you have all this film on him from college, and he can play, but he just hasn't been healthy. Give him another. You know, he's going to be.
I'm not saying that you waive him. I'm saying that you put him on injured reserve for the year to end, and more or less call this a red shirt year.
Well, this is because they don't need him this year.
No, I'm saying that's what I thought they were going to do the whole time, but they didn't. He's on the active 53.
Okay.
So that means that's so my point is somebody like whether it was Kadero Hodge or Sheldrick Redwine, 2 people that we lost that I hate that we had to lose because I think they were both good for depth. I would have rather seen them on the roster than see a guy that didn't participate in any of the training camps or OTAs on the active roster.
But just like you talked about for Brooklyn, he doesn't. You don't want to pay Kadero Hodge as a 6th receiver $2 million, do you?
Why not? He's not only a 6th receiver, but that's changing the topic a little bit. My whole point really was talking about how did a guy, you know the old saying, you can't make the tub in the club, make the club in the tub. That's what he just did, only because he was a draft pick. And my point is, I don't like. One of the things I've really liked about Andrew Berry since he came here is, to me, I think he was very fair with guys. He didn't just say, okay, I didn't draft you, you out of here, or you're not one of my guys, you're out of here. He let people earn their way onto the team. Yeah, but once you take the position that if I drafted you, you own the team, I don't like that approach. And like I said, I can't see how this guy could have earned his way onto the team when he only practiced 2 days.
Well, if his fifth round draft pick, his fifth this year and his sixth, seems like they're diamond in the roughs. His sixth last year.
How can you tell that in training camp? How can you have a diamond in the rough in training camp / preseason?
Have you seen what LeCount has been doing
in training camp?
Yes, I'm talking about he's been playing, he's been making plays. So
that don't count. Okay, that don't count.
Why does it count for him? Don't count for him, and it doesn't count for McDowell.
I told you it don't count for him either.
But I'm saying he's been making plays. That's the reason why we like him.
So
that's the reason why I'm so intrigued, because of what he's been doing in training camp.
Okay,
the way he's been tossing people around.
But what'd you just say? What'd you just say? Keyword: training camp. My man hasn't been in training camp.
No, what I'm talking about, I was talking about LeCount, and I was saying if he picked these guys up and they've been playing, let's give AB the benefit of the doubt. Did he know that he knows something that we don't know?
I'm just saying. I mean, again, and that could be the case. I'm just saying that's not a good precedence. And when I see stuff like that, it creates a little bit of concern. Because like I said, you can't just say in my opinion, you shouldn't just say because I drafted you, that you going to always make the roster or you always going to make the active 53.
Well, I'm just saying this.
And I think in this situation, we lost some talent that we could have hanged. Because to me, again, I can understand if you showed out in OTAs and in rookie minicamp, but you didn't participate in none of that either.
I'm talking about for Red Wine. Red Wine was let go because of how LeCount stepped up.
So here's what
it still comes down to talent on the team. It comes down to there weren't enough roster spots because we had a guy holding a roster spot who, in my opinion, didn't earn his way onto the team.
Okay.
Or to the actual roster.
I just think the dude can play. It was just injured. That's just my
opinion. You think that just because he got drafted, right?
No, I think that because of AB.
Right, because he got drafted by AB.
Exactly. Because he got drafted.
This is my point. This is what I think, and this is my whole reason why I was talking about Talkin. Okay, so one of the dudes that you just mentioned was a linebacker, a 5th round pick, right?
Yes, Tony Fields.
Okay, so the reason why you keep that dude, even though you haven't even seen him play, is because at linebacker is a position where, okay, this is about to eat up a lot of my cap. Because I got, and this is what I was saying about Talkin. I got all these young dudes that play linebacker, and I can't break my whole bank at linebacker. So a dude like Talkin. Now, to me, the reason why he made the squad is because the other dude got hurt. And I don't know names, so I'm sorry I don't know names. But
you're talking about Jacob Phillips. You're talking about Jacob Phillips.
Okay.
No, I think you guys are both missing the point. I think you guys are both missing the point that I'm making.
So just let me finish my point. So when you look at that position, and I'm Andrew Berry, I'm like, okay, you know something, Talkin, I haven't seen him for 3 years, and he really ain't jumped off the page. Not that he's not good, but he really ain't jumped off the page. So now I got this 5th round pick. I don't know what he might about to be, but I'm gonna go. I'm not at a place where I'm short players there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this dude and keep this dude just because, you know, in the event that now somebody balls out, I got to spend money at this position.
Well, no, I don't. Taki's still in his rookie contract, though, D.
Right.
He's not.
Right. No, he's not in his rookie contract forever, though. I'm talking about the position. I'm talking about the whole position group.
He'll be in all of them in their rookie contract.
That's what I'm saying, Dan.
Right.
You don't cut them now. You still can play for 3 years. You still can play them for 2 more years. Everything's about dollars.
So let me try and just use some some logic, okay? You couldn't stay healthy during OTAs, in which there's no real contact. You couldn't stay healthy during voluntary workouts where there's no real contact. You couldn't stay healthy during training camp where there's minimal contact. But I'm going to put you on the 53-man roster where I think you can stay healthy and help me in real games.
He's probably going to be.
Does that logic flow, or does that logic seem a little warped?
I think he's going to put it. They still have time to put him on injury reserve. The season hasn't started yet. He can still put it on because
it's a couple of different designations you can make for injury reserve.
Talk about it on the short list.
What do you mean? We can come back in 3 weeks?
Or you can extend it. You just wait and see.
Well, so there's two different ones. There's the one where you can be put on the injured reserve after you make the 53, and when you're put on that, you can come back after 3 weeks. But you can be designated for injured reserve like the kicker was, and just not get bought out. But that means you're not playing the whole season. If I hide you from my 53-man roster and put you on that on the injured reserve,
we're talking about the former then. Talking about the former. I just think the dude can play.
And again, I'm just saying, this is just my opinion. And maybe he can play, but he did not prove it. He hasn't proven it for the Browns. What you get in college doesn't matter once you make it to the NFL.
But he hasn't proven that he can't play either.
Is that what we're doing now? We give guys a chance to prove they can't play?
No, I'm saying he put so much film out. That's why they drafted him.
College film? Right. I'm not saying cut him, get rid of him from the team. I'm just saying, in my opinion, you didn't earn to be on this 53-man roster because you made 2 out of 100 practices. To me, you can't make the club in the tub. And it's that simple. Or you shouldn't be able to. At least that's my opinion. And keep in mind, I've never been a general manager of a football team. But again, it's just a concern that I have. And it does stick out to me that none of the draft picks have been released. So just, like I said, let's just keep an eye on that.
I'm going to give AB a chance. Can we get an extension on the show?
An extension?
A couple more minutes.
Okay, we're going to go a couple minutes over. We got a couple minutes. We started a little bit late, so we're going to go a couple minutes over.
The other thing that I was just talking about, we talked about the draft choice, but we never really talked about because this is game 1. Mm-hmm. And it's for the games count now.
Oh, next week count. I think next week's whole show gonna be about the game, the game, the day before the opener.
Okay, I just want to go on record and saying right now, I am so intrigued about this game. Now you got the great Mahomes, who is phenomenal, but we got that one player who you saying. Who we're talking about, the McDowell.
Right. Malik McDowell.
And I just really believe that this guy can play, even though he did it in the training camp and in the preseason. But he showed up in training camp and in the preseason. I just think he can play.
He showed flashes of physical dominance in training camp and in preseason, and I'm very intrigued to see what he does too. I just got to see it in the regular season. I like what I see. I just got to see it in the regular season.
And what place to show it up right now in this week, in the next game?
That's right.
Who we're facing.
That's right.
Because
when he got that heat coming off the end, and got some heat coming up the middle too. That's right.
That's all I'm saying. And I want to see how good JOK can match up against tight ends. Mm-hmm. I want to see how our
I'm glad to hear that.
Put them in bubble wrap all preseason, and I believe that was strategically done to do. You call them the eggheads. These dudes don't just they do. It seems like they're strategic about everything.
Hey, I think they are. I mean, health is, what can you do about it? You know what I'm saying? Injuries are part of the game, and I hope Grant, Delpit, and Greedy are able to stay healthy, man. I really do.
But I just 1 second, D. I'm gonna give KC all their due, because KC is the top of the charts. I just want to see where the Browns are.
They are, but they've lost a lot of pieces over the past couple years. You got to keep that in mind too. Like, they got a rebuilt offensive line. They no longer have Sammy Watkins. That other running back that they had, what was it, Wilkins? He's no longer there. So they've been taking some shots over these couple of years too.
Watkins is the dude. But here's the thing. So a couple of weeks ago, I said the Browns gonna get they're gonna get the door frames knocked off. So what do I think now? Here's what I'm gonna say. I think the Browns got a chance to beat Kansas City. So let's talk about that. Or do you want to wait till next week?
We can touch on it right now. We can touch on it right now.
I think what it's going to come down to is the front four.
That's what I'm thinking.
Tampa Bay beat them. Yeah. That's how Tampa Bay beat them. Now, you talk about their offensive line like their offensive line is a position weak. Their offensive line is a strength.
Hold on.
Okay.
They're new.
They're brand new.
They're new. You got 3 new people in there, and a guy that didn't play last year because of COVID. So it's like
they only got.
Say it again.
They got
3/5 of their offensive line is new. 3/5 of their offensive line is new.
True, but it ain't. But okay, so to me, that's where the game is going to be won.
You got to mess with Miles and Jadavius.
You got to mess with Miles and Jadavius,
and Malik in the middle, because that's where I hope start. I hope our middle is Malik and Malik McDowell and Malik Jackson,
Malik brothers.
Right
now. Our secondary is new.
Leak boys.
Our secondary is new. And you fucking with Patrick Mahomes.
Right, and I know that's going to be a work in progress, but this is the good thing about that, is we got a great quarterback back there calling it in John Johnson. An excellent.
But they got a great quarterback and coach that's calling it on their side. And what is your boy J.O.K.? He's supposed to be the check the tight end. He's stepping up to the best tight end in football.
Well, that's what's
probably in NFL history.
Well, that's what's intriguing when you got two people coming off the corner and you got a pit bull coming up the middle. So that's
who's the pit bull coming up the middle?
McDowell. Dude, Deion, you haven't seen him.
Don't give him that.
Deion, you haven't seen him. I wish you'd have seen him. You're just saying it just because you're saying it. I wish you could see what we saw.
But again, Deion, don't give dude credit till he do it, dude. Don't give dude credit. You don't give dude credit.
Deion, this guy.
You cannot right now say, you know something, the Browns defensive tackles is about to be a strength of our defense.
I did not say. I said it was intriguing for what we saw. That's what you're hearing, and that's not what I'm saying.
That's no. But one of the points that you're making, you're saying that you're okay. So right now, we definitely have the advantage over Kansas City from our defensive ends versus their offensive tackles. You can't say, and we got pressure coming up the middle. How could you even say that? How could you say that we got pressure coming up the middle?
Because one of the Maliks has been in the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the other one. The other one did his work in college, and I'm saying what he did in the preseason. One of the Maliks is going to make a difference. If not one, the other.
Right.
One of the Maliks is going to do some work.
The Malik McDowell is the thing about him is to where, again, he's been away from the game for a while, a couple years.
And this dude, Deion,
when you physically dominate people, you know what I'm saying? It's just like I push you, you go backwards. You know what I'm saying? You're on your back because I pushed you on your back. It's just you dominating people, and that's what he's shown the ability to do in preseason. Now we know come the regular season, everything steps up because you're going.
You're not opening the season with Jacksonville. You're opening the season with the best team,
and you're playing against number ones, and you're playing against a starter. So
you're playing against number one, and you playing at base spot.
But this is the one thing. This is the one thing, though.
Line is new, Deion.
And this is the one thing they're not going to be able to do. They're not going to be able to game plan for them because they're going to have their hands filled with dealing with those ends. So, hey, look, we went over our time on review the Browns versus Kansas City, week 1 in the NFL. See you then.
Can't wait.
Before we go, I put it as whoever wins